Back then, nobody thought children could have contracts until someone proved they could. 1954, Los Angeles. On a film set, the lights went out. A little boy began to cry, but the cameras kept rolling. The director yelled, "Cut!" Yet no one stopped. The room was thick with cigarette smoke and the smell of hot metal from the overhead lamps. The boy's hands were shaking. His eyes darted left and right, searching for someone, anyone, to help him. But the crew stood frozen, watching in silence. That final scene was never released. The film's title vanished from studio archives, the director disappeared, and the company shut down, claiming budget issues. Decades later, an old metal box surfaced in the Los Angeles Times archives. Its label, nearly erased by rust, read, "Silver Child Project." The person who found it was a young journalist, Wendy Bergen. She was only 28, but fearless. Born in San Francisco, raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs, Wendy had clawed her way into journalism through sheer determination. She was known for sneaking into restricted archives to expose buried truths, stories others were too afraid to touch. Her editor once told her, "You don't just chase stories, Wendy. You haunt them." That night, she lifted the lid of the dusty box. Inside were film reels and a handwritten note. "If you found this, don't publish anything. They're still here." Wendy took the first reel home and played it. Grainy black and white footage flickered across the wall. 6 children stood under blinding studio lights. Their faces were pale, expressionless. Sweat dripped down their foreheads. One child's lip trembled, but he didn't cry. A man's voice said, "Smile." But the children's faces didn't move. Their eyes were empty. Then another voice came from behind the camera. "Trial 4. Increase the light intensity." Wendy froze. This wasn't a film scene. It was an experiment. The next day, she showed the footage to her editor. He didn't even look at her, only whispered, "Wendy, do you have any idea who owned that studio?" "The Department of Defense." By morning, her editor was gone. His desk cleared, his phone disconnected, and all the archive drawers had been sealed. Security told her he'd taken personal leave, but his coffee mug was still on the desk. His jacket hung on the chair. He hadn't left. He'd been removed. Wendy returned to the archives the next night. She dug through old accounting folders until she found it. The Silver Child Project wasn't listed under film production. It was under behavioral research. Below that, a small note read, "Joint cooperation with the Psychological Institute of California." The documents described scenes as reaction tests. Next to one page, a handwritten message. "Real emotions are easier to see under light." Another page showed a grid of children's faces. Below each photo was a number and a single word: compliant, resistant, broken. Wendy didn't yet understand what had been filmed, but she felt this was bigger than cinema. That night, she wrote only 2 words in her notebook: light experiments. By the late 1950s, rumors spread across Hollywood. Child actors were leaving sets, waking up in the night crying. Some forgot their own names. In one interview, a small actor looked straight at the camera and said, "When the lights come on, I'm not me anymore." That sentence stuck in Wendy's mind, because in the Silver Child documents, the purpose of the tests was clear: to test the boundary of personality. It wasn't just acting. It was psychological manipulation. Through light, sound, and repetition, they were trying to control emotions. Those children weren't performing. They were losing themselves The project was officially shut down in 1955. But Wendy found a 1962 file titled Silver Continuum Confidential. The same program, different names. The experiments had continued. This time, the tests had evolved. Instead of just light and sound, they used recorded voices, familiar voices, parents, siblings, friends. The children were placed in isolation chambers and exposed to manipulated audio designed to disorient them. One report noted, Subject 19 no longer recognized mother's voice after 6 sessions. The new file listed 3 people, a cinematographer, a psychologist, and a third name blacked out with ink. Below it, a short typed note. Primary subject, W. Bergen. Wendy's hands trembled. She had been a child during those years. How could her name appear there? She sat in the dim light of the archive room, her heartbeat loud in her ears. Her memory felt fractured, like pieces of a puzzle she'd never known were missing. Had she been part of this? That evening, she found a brown envelope on her doorstep. No return address. Inside were more film reels. This time, there were no children, only a woman. Her face was half lit, her expression blank. And when she spoke, the voice sounded like Wendy's. From behind the camera, a man said, Trial 47, subject awareness increased. Wendy stepped back from the screen, shaken. If this was real, who was the woman? Herself? Or something made to replace her? In 1973, Wendy Bergen disappeared. The official report said car accident. But her body was never found. Her apartment was left untouched. Groceries still in the fridge, typewriter mid-sentence. The last line she'd typed read, If I'm gone, look for the light. Every file at the Los Angeles Times with her name was marked Access Restricted, personal reasons. Years later, in 1997, an old film projector was discovered in the basement of the Hollywood Museum. Inside, one final reel, tagged Silver Child. A restoration team carefully transferred the footage to digital format. The room fell silent as the image appeared. Most of the reel was too damaged to salvage, warped, burned, unreadable, but 12 seconds survived. When restored, only 12 seconds of footage survived. A woman stared into the camera and whispered, When the lights go out, no one remembers who they are. Experts confirmed the voice matched Wendy Bergen's, but no one could determine when or where it had been recorded. That film has never been publicly shown. Yet every year, a few people in Los Angeles claim to hear a faint projector running in an empty theater at midnight. One security guard at the old Orpheum Theater swore he heard it. He described the sound, the soft clicking of film spooling through metal reels, the hum of a bulb warming up. But when he entered the projection room, it was empty, cold, dark, as if someone is still trying to replay that scene again and again. Maybe Hollywood's brightest lights were never meant to shine on the stars, but to expose the darkness behind them. If you think this story is over, maybe you're just watching the wrong film. Some stories don't end when the camera stops. They keep rolling, in the shadows, in the silence, in the spaces we forget to look. The Silver Child Project wasn't just an experiment. It was a blueprint for erasing identity, one light at a time. If this story made you question what's hidden in plain sight, subscribe, because the next reel might reveal something even darker. And this time, you might recognize the face on screen.